Welcome to the Songwriter Connection podcast, where we look at the craft of songwriting through the eyes of the songwriter. Each week, we make a connection with a music maker, listen to their songs, and hear their stories. From Nashville, Tennessee, here's your host, Dave Lenihan.
Well, believe it or not, we are on episode number 75. That's crazy. I have a feeling that a lot of podcasts got started during COVID, as did this one, but I have to tell you, I am having a blast. And I'm making a connection, and I hope you are too, with a lot of cool artists, not only here from Nashville, but from all over. I do have a Nashville act, though, for you that I just have been in love with since the first time I saw them. And I want to introduce you to Carryin On. That's Carryin On. That's apostrophe at the end of the N.
That's it, man. That's it right there. The apostrophe is what gets them every time.
And you guys are playing tonight at 12 Keys with me, and I spelled Carryin wrong because I'm an idiot. Did you notice that on the flyer?
No, I honestly didn't. We're so used to it getting chopped off in a lot of the editing software, too. It won't allow you. I mean, I know.
Doesn't allow the apostrophe?
Yeah, there's a lot of places that just don't allow apostrophes or periods or exclamation points or anything.
I'm going to blame it on that, okay?
That's it.
Even though I left out an R.
Yeah.
But anyway, this husband and wife team, and I just love them. It's Jacque and Brennan McGuire.
Glad to be here with you, Dave.
It's Irish, right?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit Irish.
Just a little bit. And we have the son, Liam Brennan McGuire. So that just steps it over the top just a little bit more.
There you go. With a name like Lenihan, I love you. I knew I did. It was Randy Driscoll, who's a mutual friend of ours, who's also been on this podcast, one of my favorite performers, and performs all over the world. And in fact, I think she's performing in Hawaii as we talk.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they're in Hawaii this week.
Tough work if you can get it.
Right.
But let me tell you, she has this thing that she does every month, a couple times a month, called Randy's Revival, folks. And it's at a beautiful hotel downtown called the Carryin On 8th in the True Music Room, which is one of my favorite rooms to play. It's just a great setup, great sound, great people that hang out there. And one of the first ones that I did, I ran into Carryin On and was so impressed and blown away by you guys.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that was our first Randy's Revival, wasn't it? When
was
we
it?
met. And I think we both met you and your wife, Patty, that night.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was so thrilled with what I heard. And I want to share that with folks. So I wonder, can we open up with this song?
Oh, certainly.
Yeah,
certainly,
this is Carryin On, Jacque and Brennan, our guests on the Songwriter Connection podcast.
All right, we're going to do one called The Long Walk from Tennessee.
Sometimes it seems I'm dancing with the devil. Some days wake up not knowing where I've been. Sometimes it's hard to wrap my head around it. This life that I am leading full of sin. On this wicked road we travel, border lines are razor thin. Well, it's a long walk from Tennessee to Vegas, long trip from New York to New Orleans. And if I get my shot, I'm gonna take it. If I'm falling down, pick me up, oh Lordy me. Some say that I'm hell-bent on self-destruction, but I just call it living on a road. When you can't tell if you're coming or you're going, you'll reap the fruit of all the seeds you sow. Just like apples in a garden, we're never like landmines to explode. Well, it's a long walk from Tennessee to Vegas, long trip from New York to New Orleans. And if I get my shot, I'm gonna take it. Or if I'm falling down, pick me up, oh Lordy me.
All right, here's that little Johnny Cash.
My mama tried to raise me right and teach me to walk with Jesus everywhere I go.
I can't seem to do just what I ought to. Turn every little thing into a show.
I know this habit's gonna break me,
But it's the only life I know.
well, it's a long walk from Tennessee to Vegas, long trip from New York to New Orleans. If I get my shot, I'm gonna take it. If I'm falling down,
Pick me up, oh Lordy.
if I'm falling down, well, pick me up, oh Lordy. If I'm falling down, pick me up, oh Lordy, me.
Oh, yeah. They are called Carryin On. Brennan and Jackie McGuire, our guests on the Songwriter Connection podcast. Little Johnny Cash in there, isn't it?
Little bit of that, the boom chicka thing
Boom
going
chicka
on in the
thing.
middle.
And by the way, your name Carryin On has got Johnny Cash kind of roots, doesn't it?
Yeah, we started off doing a lot of John and June stuff in the beginning of our career. So
Did you?
when we decided to name the band, we went with the name of the record for the first John and June duet record, which was called Carryin On with Johnny Cash and June Carter.
And
So
there you are.
I said, just take that first part and there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Easy enough.
Absolutely. Fantastic. And a great tribute. But it's not a tribute band. When you got, I love how you describe, I always hate when people ask, what kind of music do you do, right? And we've joked about that before and putting people into to categories and genres and things. But I love how you describe your music. Carry on a husband and wife duo. Throwback to the classic days of country music with a little bit of bluegrass, a little bit of blues, yeah. Classic vocal harmony. The harmonies are fantastic. But they bring a fresh new sound built on foundations set forth by the icons of the past. So it pretty much describes what you do, doesn't it?
Well, thank you so
thank
much.
you.
I hope we get it right there.
Yeah.
We definitely have a new flair. I mean, as songwriters, you can't help what you write. Sometimes it's country, sometimes it's rock, sometimes it's blues. But as far as the project that we're trying to put out with just our kind of original stuff, we've really kind of leaned heavily on that classic, folky, good church harmonies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where we both grew up singing, was in the church. So
It doesn't surprise me. Very tight harmonies. Yeah. So
you grow
very
up
good.
being tenor and alto, you know what I mean?
Yep.
We sang more harmony than we did lead growing up, so that's what kind of really blended our sound when we got there. And it was nice because, one of us can jump on lead and the other one can jump on harmony, and it's just kind of seamless. Having sung harmony all the time growing up, it's kind of more of our nature to
Right.
jump to those harmony
Yeah, it
lines
just
sometimes.
naturally comes to both of us.
And that is quite a gift because, a lot of people will sing in unison. And there's quite a difference between harmony and unison, right?
Oh, yeah.
And maybe you can describe that, and was just a gift that you could hear it and you could sing it.
Well, I was very fortunate that, my grandmother was the one who kind of taught me growing up, and she had a very low voice. She was actually a tenor.
Yeah.
So I just learned by copying what she was doing as a kid. And it was like, no, okay, if the soprano line's here, we need to be jumping to a third or a fifth here, and that's going to be where our part comes in. So singing in groups, I naturally learned the harmony lines before I learned any of the melodies.
No
so
kidding.
it was kind of backwards for me.
Yeah.
How about you, Jackie?
Well, me growing up, my parents, I grew up in a very musical family. So from the time I was born, pretty much, my parents, them and all their high school friends, they started this group because we were from Massachusetts. Billerica, Massachusetts is where they all graduated from. So as they all got older, they started this group called the Billerica Alumni Cast.
Wow.
So they all sort of kept their soprano, alto, tenor, bass parts that they had from high school, and then they'd put on this show in Billerica twice a year, pretty much. And they'd do show tunes and a whole bunch of different things,
Broadway.
And my mom was a soprano and my dad was a bass, and my sister's a soprano too, So
you
then
sing bass.
as I got older, I wanted to sing with the girls,
Yeah.
and well, I couldn't get that high. I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? So they sent me over to sing with the altos, just because all us kids were brought to dress rehearsals and stuff for all of these events and shows that they did. And so I found that singing with the altos was, it fit my register better, but I never got to sing the harmony, harmony part, or the melody parts, so I'd get really down about it. But they're like, look, without the alto, there's really no guts to it, so you got to have the alto part in there so that you can hear it. So it just sort of blended in, and then that went into church. And as I got older, I just sort of kept doing I like the harmony parts.
I do too. I think that's really attracted me to you guys first, hearing those great harmonies.
Yeah, harmonies, I feel like it puts a lot of gut and soul into stuff. It fills it out more than you even think about it.
Being a harmony duo like that, how does that affect your songwriting?
Oh, it's definitely one of the first things we think. As soon as we write a melody line, we're almost simultaneously trying to write in the harmony parts. Because one of the things we try to do, even in our choruses and whatnot, is if you pay attention, it's actually jumping back and forth.
I was just going to say that.
Who's singing the melody line. And then the next line will usually be kind of counterpoint, where that person kind of jumps to a few harmony notes and then may end up back on, the lead tone.
So cool. Yeah, I've noticed that. And it's one of the things I love about you guys. It's pretty cool.
Christmas cantatas. That's where that came from. Singing Christmas cantatas in church where the lead part switches.
Yeah.
That's really kind of what informed that decision for us when we started writing. And not having the third and fourth part. To me, it keeps the interest going, where you can't necessarily always have that, the third and the fifth above. So you kind of have to make a choice as to go, okay, which is the more important one to my ear to fill out this whole chordal structure that's going on.
I got you. Very important. So you talked about writing and writing for the group, but also writing in how you don't really concentrate on genre. Just it seems to me that you find the best song, and then you worry about how that's going to be later. Let it find its own home, its own roots. Right?
Oh, and it's definitely helped me a lot becoming a producer here in the last 10 years.
I did want to mention that you produce as well.
I look at the structure of the song kind of based more on the lyric and go, okay, what does the lyric imply for the melody and the chordal structure and the rhythmic elements of the song? And I may have started off with the lyrical idea, okay, this is going to be a straight ahead country blues thing, but all of a sudden we start writing the chorus and it's like, oh, no, we've got to take that a different direction. Let's find a different rhythmic structure or cadence for the music, and then we'll go where the song dictates.
Yeah.
So, do you always write together?
I'd say about 90% of the time we write together, but we've been doing a lot more co-writes since we've moved to Nashville.
Oh, have you? Okay. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the time when we write, one of us starts something or has a little blip of, this is a line. What should we do? And then we work off it from there. So
I got you.
Sometimes it'll just be just the idea for the title, and it's like, all right, where do we go with this? It's different every time though. We wrote 2 songs last week. Driving to and from shows.
I like to write while I'm driving.
I do too. It clears the mind.
It clears the mind. Yeah, and and I'm not saying I physically write on a piece of paper as I drive, because somebody asked that. No, I got my phone or something. But it's running through my head. And in fact, we got this song called "Baby I'm Gone," which is probably the one I'm known the most for. And that whole second verse was on a ride from Cincinnati up to Cleveland. And I went, wow, that's kind of working. And I had to talk it into my phone. And there's something about the hum of that road, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and thank God for those voice memo recorders on the phones now, right?
Yeah. And even at night, if you go, when you're just about to fall asleep and that idea hits you, you put it in the phone real quick, or you'll lose it. It happens. We've talked about that. Yeah. So what? I'd love to hear an example of that harmony that you talk about. Where you're switching back and forth between lead and who's singing harmony. I'd like to hear another song already if I could. Our guests, you live out in Dixon too, right?
Yeah, we're a little past Dixon. We're out in no man's land between McEwen and Erin.
Okay.
We live in a little place called Silvertop.
Silvertop, out towards, if you're heading toward Hurricane Mills, right? But not quite that far. From Nashville.
Yeah, we're about 20 minutes from Hurricane Mills.
Yeah.
If you take the back ways.
And it depends on how fast you drive, right?
If you drive the speed limit, it's probably more like 35 minutes.
I want to get into your backstory in just a little bit and all your travels, but I want to hear this song. Tell me about it.
All right, this is the next single we're getting ready to release, and Miss Jackie's going to sing lead for you on this one. This is a little song about, it's kind of an amalgamation of a couple people that we knew from back up north, but it's some of your friends, you maybe went to high school with, great hearts, good people, but they just always seem to step in it, and they can't seem to get themselves on the straight and narrow.
And even though they know that that's a bad step to take, they're just like, let's try this anyways, and then like, oh, all right.
No,
all right.
Still stings.
Let's try again.
I know the type.
So this one's called Sweet Anna Lee.
Oh, love this song.
Finally out of Oklahoma, got herself a brand new name, pouring shots and shooting whiskey, but she's blinded by the shining lights and fame. Says she'll hit it hard tomorrow when she's sober, but she knows that she'll be back there just the same. Sweet Anna Lee, sweet Anna Lee, you've been playing way too rough now that you're out all on your own. You thought you had a handle till it got you to the bone. Sweet Anna Lee, sweet Anna Lee. Well, she got herself to Nashville, then she fell into cocaine, and one thing led to another, watched her life just slowly spiral down the drain. She never saw the cliff that she was over, till her love had paid the price to play the game. Sweet Anna Lee, sweet Anna Lee, you've been playing way too rough now that you're out all on your own. You thought you had a handle till it cut you to the bone. Sweet Anna Lee, sweet Anna Lee. Sweet Anna Lee, sweet Anna Lee, you've been playing way too rough now that you're out all on your own. You thought you had a handle till it cut you to the bone. Sweet Anna Lee, you know you're my. You're my sweet Anna Lee, you know you're my. You're my sweet Anna Lee, you're my. You're my sweet Anna Lee, you're my. Sweet Anna Lee, sweet Anna Lee.
The talents of Carryin On, Jacque and Brennan McGuire on our Songwriter Connection podcast. Both are guitar players, good guitar players. Throw a little lead in there, Brennan, and I just love what I hear there. And I love the progression, and I'm really into those kind of things, Was that, for instance, like you're in the key of D there, I believe.
Yes. Well, I'm in the key of D, but see, we do a little different. I do D standard, so I do
Right.
E, drop down a whole step.
I
So we're
gotcha.
actually in the key of C,
You're in
even
the key
though
of C.
I'm playing in D. Yep.
Okay, that's why we have the natural number system.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what I love is you go into that 2 minor and then the 2 major, which is really gives it a really cool sound.
It flips it on its head.
Yeah.
It was funny. We were listening to a lot of Tom Petty when we did that.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
love that major to minor change
I
that
do
he
too.
does
Yeah.
in Mary Jane's Last Dance.
Oh, yeah.
It lifts the whole chorus right up, and I was like, I want us to do that on
Yeah.
the song. I want to have that major minor lift thing.
Yeah.
Because we do the 4 major, 4 minor a lot. That's one of the things we throw in a lot of our songs. And I was like, I want to do the opposite. Instead of dropping it to that kind of the minor drop, the minor fall thing.
Yeah.
I want to try one with kind of lifting that chorus up a bit.
If it sounds like great to you, and then we're Irish, I really encourage you to learn more about the Nashville number system. It really is an incredible system. It is the reason why all these Nashville songwriters are actually studio musicians can go into a studio and sound like they played the song for years, just knowing the numbers, not exactly the chords. For instance, your one is always what key you're in.
Right.
Right? And so I assumed, didn't know you were tuned down, that you were, because you're playing a D-shaped chord, that you were in the D key.
D standard,
I wasn't. So I flipped real quick to the number system, and we're cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minor. The 2s and 3s are usually minor.
Right.
The 4 and 5 are majors. There's the 6 minor, and then there's something called the flat 7, which really throws you off.
Right. But how often do they throw that flat 7 in?
I'm hearing a lot more these days.
Yes, I was going to say, we've got a little bit more jazz coming back into the pop music, but I mean, a lot of times you throw that in there, people are like, what are you on, man?
It's always surprising when you hear it.
That's it.
Because you go, oh, that's my ear's not attuned to that, and it grabs an attention. So I'm noticing it a lot more that I've discovered what it is. So really, it's a cool progression. So did it start with the progression and then the melody, or did you have the idea first? Or
we had the idea for this one.
Did you?
5-6 years ago.
Really?
And never did anything with it. We didn't do anything with this till about 1.5 years, 2 years ago.
Yeah, this
right?
one's relatively new still.
Wow.
And we had sung the chorus into the phone, and it just kind of lived there and never got finished. We moved down here to Nashville, kind of forgot about it for a while, and we were sitting, and we were like, songwriters, we tend to write a lot of ballad and slow tempo songs, and that's the one thing that I'm always trying to fight with. Is like, I need more up tempo stuff.
It's like Mark Allen Barnett says, I'm gonna die and take you with me. So,
exactly.
Yeah. But Anna Lee, I'm curious about Anna Lee. Was that a real character, or did it just sound musical to you?
She's based off of a real character, but it's not really what her name is.
Yeah, and Anna Lee, I think it was we just chose it because it fit in and sung well in that spot.
Yeah. Sometimes I just love the sound of a name that just sounds like it should be a song.
Yeah.
Right, it just rings to you for some reason.
Yeah, and it fits on that one really, really well. No offense to Anna Lee, who's one of my favorite disc jockeys on Roots Radio, MOT.
Yes, love that station.
Has she played your music yet?
No, we haven't been in contact with her
You
yet.
gotta do that. I could hear them playing you.
Oh, I love that. We listen to that station a lot, actually, on our drive-in.
It's my favorite terrestrial radio station these days out of MTSU University, but they cover all of Middle Tennessee on a lot of different frequencies. But Roots Radio, if you want to check it out, I know they stream, and it really is a great mixture of music. What they're calling Americana today, which is a lot of different genres put in, the stuff that's maybe too country for modern country radio, but also folk and blues and bluegrass, all the stuff that...
All the stuff, I was going to say, all the stuff that we love, man.
Yeah, all the stuff we love. Yeah, so she's got this show called The Local Brew.
Yes.
And I think it's Sunday mornings, Monday evenings, and she's played like Credenda. You guys know the Credenda? They were on our show too. I could hear her playing your stuff, so she get Wildfire, that's for sure.
Oh yeah,
which I know you're gonna play that later on.
Oh yeah, we can't leave without that one. Everybody always gets mad.
Is that your signature end song?
It is.
Like "Baby, I'm Gone for Me."
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got to leave them wanting more, right? That's supposed to be the name of the game.
Yep, you better believe it. So let's talk a little bit about how you guys met and how it all came together. It was in Massachusetts, was it, or no?
Yeah, well, I grew up in Massachusetts, and then I moved to upstate New York, where Brennan lived his whole life.
Whereabouts?
Little place called Hoosick Falls. We're about 45 minutes north of Albany. We're right across the border from Bennington, Vermont, though. So
okay.
A lot of people are like, oh, New York Cities. I was like, no. We have more cows than people.
Significantly more cows.
In New York?
More cows, right?
I said, yeah, we're pretty much Vermonters. Her family's house is, 5 minutes from the border, if that.
I used to run to the border every morning before school.
Wow. So. Did you really? Mm-hmm. That close? Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. So you met in New York?
Yeah.
Okay. Going to school, or?
Well, we did musical theater both growing up, and I had since graduated before she got there, and I had gone and done a stint at Berklee College of Music. Figured out that wasn't for me. I was like, I would much rather be out playing than theorizing and debating over which name we want to name a chord. I'm much more practical when it comes to that. And I
B minor 7 diminished flat.
well, no, being in the key of D, it needs to be a sharp. I don't care.
Yeah.
Just play it, man.
Yeah.
Just play
it.
it.
Sounds good. Yeah. I'm sure the Beatles didn't know.
Exactly.
But they knew how it sounded. That it sounded good.
That's it.
Right.
How it hits the ears
Yes.
what matters.
Mm-hmm.
So I had come back and I had gotten my high school band together, and we were getting ready to go out and do our first West Coast tour. Things wound up that the band broke up about 2 weeks before we were to hit the road. We were a three-piece act, and it was all original material, so I was kind of left stranded. And I was like, okay, so now I've got the rest of the summer off. What am I going to do?
Oh, my.
My old high school chorus teacher called me up, and she says, we're doing Art in the Park. We're doing a little cabaret type thing, and we need a director. There's a stipend for it, so
Nice.
you can make some little money while you're not working, because I know you were supposed to go on this tour. I was like, hey, yeah, I'm down. I don't have anything to do for the next month and a half, so let's do it. Mm-hmm. And
Now, was Jackie with you then?
no, this is kind of...
Yeah, so I was part of the cabaret. I was just one of the kids, that was going to play and sing some stuff. And I went on vacation a couple weeks before the cabaret happened. And one of the songs I was part of, I got pushed out of because they practiced it while I wasn't in town. So I was like, okay, well,
Be that way.
maybe Brennan will sing a song with me.
And the rest is history, as
And
they
the rest
say,
is
right?
history. So
How
we
about
sang
that?
As Long As You're Mine from Wicked.
Oh, yeah.
The song that Elphaba and Fiyero sing to each other. So
I saw that on
I went over to
Broadway.
his house and I was like, well, this is what we're going to sing. What do you think? And he's like, okay, sure, let's do it. And here we are now, 15 years later.
15 years and a kid, right?
Wow. So you have a child.
Yes.
Yeah.
9-year-old.
How old?
Liam.
9? Liam.
Yep.
Yep.
That's a nice Irish name, huh?
Oh, he's a good boy.
He's a
Most
good
of the
boy.
time. He's got that Irish blood in him, though. He gives us a run for our money every once in a while.
That's awesome, Liam. I gotta meet him someday.
Oh, I'm sure you will. He's hamming it up. The last time we brought him, I think it was one of the nights you weren't there at Randy's revival. He had to get up on stage with us there. He's like, well, are you going to introduce me or what?
Does he sing?
Of course not. He sings around the house, but
Yeah.
because that's what Mom and Dad do, he refuses to do it. And I always tell Jackie, we're going to get our comeuppance. The only thing worse than a parent's nightmare of their kid wanting to be a professional musician. And I think we've got that. He wants to be a professional comedian.
Right.
So,
Well, right after that conversation that we had, he came out on the back porch. He's like, Mom, Dad, you know what? And we're like, what, buddy? He says, I want to be a stand-up comedian when I get older. And we're just like,
Every opening act could have a
Goodness.
stand-up comedian. You guys,
exactly.
you never know. Does he play guitar yet?
No, he's more into keyboard and drums is where his focus has tended to be. But
I see a family band in the future.
we're trying. We're trying like crazy. I don't want to do it on stage, Mom and Dad. No. What was the latest hero? He's like, no, I want to grow up and be more like Jack Black. I don't want to be a music person. I want to be a funny person.
The pick of destiny, right?
Yes, exactly. You can do fun stuff with music.
Yes,
know?
you can. Absolutely. Now, you mentioned Randy Driscoll, who was, again, she was on her show. You went to the same school that she taught at out in L.A.?
Yeah, it was
or
funny.
Hollywood, right? Hollywood?
Yeah, we didn't meet her until... Where were we? It was Steve Stern's little guitar pull at that coffee house, which is escaping my
Grinder
name
House
right now.
Coffee?
No, it wasn't
No, it
Grinder
wasn't that
House.
one.
Grinder
But
House.
we
I want
wound
to play
up-
there someday. Have you
That
played
place
Grinder
is
House?
Oh, yeah. What a great venue.
I won't do
What
it. I hear a lot of good things. Anyway, I get...
Actually, the last time we were there with Randy.
yeah.
Really?
And Jamie Adamson. Yep, he
Love
brought us
Jamie.
over there.
He's a great
writer.
singer.
Oh,
he is
man.
something else. Yeah.
But yeah, funny enough, we met and we had known her for, over a year.
Yeah.
And never made the LA connection. And one day I was looking for something she had posted on Facebook, and I saw in her bio that she was teaching at the school I attended in LA while I was there, and we never crossed paths. I was like, did you teach? She's like, yeah, I was in the vocal department. I was like, oh, I was in RIT. I was in the Recording Institute at the same time. And another mutual friend, Char Nichols.
Char, who was on the show recently, too, met her husband there, Mark.
Yep.
Mark Thomas, yeah.
Small world, man.
Yeah.
That's all I can say is
It's just the talent, I think, finds a way to just, accumulate together, It's something else, And that's what I love about this town.
That's what I was just going to say. Nashville is definitely different, I would say, than any of the other music cities we have been in as far as how collaborative it is here.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody is willing to kind of let people in. There isn't this huge hurdle to get in. I mean, you'll get placed where you belong. You know what I mean? They're not going to put you in deep water if you're not ready to swim. But everybody's so encouraging here.
They really are. Yeah.
It's so nice because, I mean, you've been doing this for how many years now?
Well, I've lived here for 9 years, but I was coming down quite a bit, in writing and,
And just having that encouragement from the people that are already in the scene, it makes you feel like...
Telling you, come on down. You need to move here. You need to be a part of this community.
Right.
I've got so many people I want to introduce you to, and that's what I love, the networking and just meeting great people. And part of the reason why I started this radio show, because this podcast, which is like radio without the politics. I did radio for 40 years, folks, and it's kind of a continuation of that for me. But I wanted to do this just to share and to make those connections and give a little publicity to the connections I have made.
Exactly.
Because people like you deserve to be heard. Oh, my
thank
goodness.
you so
Around
much.
The world. Man.
Likewise, man. Louisville Slugger, we got to hear that every time, man. I love that song. I absolutely do. It just
finally
chokes
going to
me
be
up.
Just recorded, and we're finally going to release that on a new project, which is called Or Something Like That.
Oh, awesome.
It's a 6-song EP coming out this fall, and maybe by the time this broadcast or publishes, it'll be out there. I don't know, but it will be the second single from the project. I'm going to wait till baseball season starts up next year.
Yeah, well, you gotta line it up, right?
Exactly right.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
So thanks for saying that. I appreciate that.
Well, and everybody better go and get a copy of that when that comes out. I mean, if you have kids, it's definitely gets you choked up there when it gets to that last verse, man, every time. So
thank you, my
I love
friend.
it.
Yeah, it's become a staple in my performance. So I'm going to get to play with you guys tonight alongside of you.
Heck yeah, 12 Keys.
The 12 Keys in Hermitage, and if you're visiting Nashville, that's a really cool place. It's always got something going on music-wise. In fact, they call it, Mo, the owner, calls it a beer joint with a music problem.
And that it definitely is. It's one of the nicest listening rooms in the area. I have
really
to say,
cool.
the audience there is really what makes the room too. It's a great listening audience, and as writers, it feels really good when you actually have people there paying attention to you, and you're not just the little background
And
noise.
the people that are talking, sometimes people will tell them, they'll turn around, hey, we're listening here, So which is kind of cool. Mo, who is a great guy, and Joe and his wife, first time I brought you there, I remember, I think it was a Saturday afternoon, because we do Saturday afternoon rounds, which are so much fun. Day drinking, for us older folks, because we can't stay up late to drink. No, but you guys came, and I remember your performance was so stunning to him. And I'll tell you, Mo is a hard guy to impress. He's a songwriter. He's done it all. And I mean, the moment you dropped off that stage, he was, I got to have you here when you come.
Mo has been awesome to us. We're actually going to be doing a Friday night residency for the whole month of November.
Yeah.
Correct?
All of November.
Yeah.
That's
8
great.
p.m.
8 p.m.
every Friday in November.
Better believe I'm going to be there.
And we'll play until they shut us down.
Yeah. Sometimes he has to kick us out because we're having so much fun.
That's a good thing, though.
It is a good thing, right? Absolutely. Well, I'm going to take a little break. I have to thank sponsors through Red Circle, my host. But when we come back, I want another song from you two. Don't go away.
You're listening to the Songwriter Connection, connecting with music makers and hearing their songs and stories. Now back to the show with your host, Dave Linehan.
Thank you for joining us. We do appreciate you making us one of the fastest growing music podcasts in the world and on the webs. Thank you for spreading it around. Of course, if you're listening on YouTube, like and subscribe. Okay, certainly appreciate that. We do a little slideshow. We're not doing the video podcast thing yet. I'm a little radio guy. Got a face for radio, But I'm not ruling it out. Recently, a friend of mine who was one of my students at the old Ohio Center for Broadcasting had a really cool video podcast, and we did that this last week, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm thinking about that. You never know. I'll never say never. How's that?
Start dipping the toes in just a little bit at a time. See how you like it.
Yeah. And this grew out of a TV show that we did in Cincinnati, which was called Nashville Songwriter Connection. It was on cable television there. My friend Greg Altimer and I was the host. He was the director.
That's awesome.
And it was fun. We brought a lot of Nashville songwriters up to be on the show. And so, I was thinking during COVID, it would be really cool to do that here, but I don't want to do it on TV. The podcast, well, maybe that will work. So here we are.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've really been enjoying the podcast so
Thank
far.
you.
I really,
listening.
like I was telling Dave before we got here, it's just absolutely awesome and refreshing to hear. It's just a natural conversation. I really like it, though. I do.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate you listening. I really do. I really do. I want to hear another song because I'm a big fan of what you guys do. Brennan and Jackie are our guests. Carrying on.
All right, we're going to do one with a little bit of the Celtic flair to it.
Oh, I like that.
Because we grew up doing a lot of Celtic music in my family. This is one called The Rocky Road to Nashville. They're trying to change that right now. It looks like they're paving today, but they don't have it quite down yet.
Outside of Dix, out in Herrin, Tennessee, to a little rusty trailer Mama's kinfolk left to me. I drive east into that city every night to earn my keep on this rocky road to Nashville, where the wicked get no sleep. Sunset's down to fade. Eyes on the prize and keep it straight. I will follow my own arrow. I will make my own mark. I will sing just like a sparrow. I will hold on to that spark, just like a raven in the dark. Well, I finally made my mind up. I've grown tired of standing still on this rocky road to Nashville, where the blues fits my will, where I once saw a rhinestone cowboy. There's some hipsters dressed in plaid who might have me trade conviction for a big machine's new fad. Sunset's down to fade. Eyes on the prize and keep it straight. I will follow my own arrow, and I will make my own mark. I will sing just like a sparrow. I will hold on to that spark, just like a raven in the dark. Sunset's down to fade. Eyes on the prize and keep it straight. I will follow my own arrow. I will make my own mark. I will sing just like a sparrow, and I will hold on to that spark, just like the raven in the dark.
Beautiful. Some nice guitar work there too, Brendan. Very good. Raven in the Dark. Yeah. Wonderful. Like my friend Greg Wilson, another good friend, but I was thinking about Chad Wilson. Chad would like to deconstruct this song. That's the name of his podcast. So tell us about the writing of that one.
So actually, that Raven in the Dark line, the name Brennan in Gaelic translates to the dark one or the raven.
I did not know that.
So I was reading through on name meanings one day, of course, looked up my own. I was like, oh, wow. Okay, so Raven. I like that. We can go with that. I got a little bit of a dark streak in me, so.
Isn't that? Well, that's cool. So, kind of your signature song?
Yeah, that's me in there a little bit. And it's based roughly on a true story. My grandmother passed, about 5 years ago now, before we moved down here, and we had a bunch of properties up in New York that we needed to move and get rid of. So we got rid of some of them, and that's kind of what
You had to get rid of the cows first, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly. And the cow patties.
And the cow patties, yeah. Sorry.
But that's what kind of allowed us to move down here. We wound up in the little place out there between McEwen and Aaron called Silvertop, and we were able to kind of move the family down here. There's 2 houses on the property, so it was nice. My mother moved down here.
Well, that's cool. You got the family with you.
Helps with the little one, too.
Oh, yeah, imagine. That's really good. And now you build a studio, too.
Yeah.
Tell me about your studio, what you call it, and what you've been doing there.
So I don't really have any. I tell people it's Silvertop Sound, but it's really just my home studio. But we ripped off the back half of the barn when we got here, and rebuilt it from the ground up, just off the pad. And I built myself a little tracking room, little ISO room, and then a live room. So I've got pretty much all that we need in there. And I've actually been doing all of our own stuff has been produced, mixed, and mastered out of that studio, as well as a couple artists here in town. L.A. Massengill has a single that we're getting ready to release here, I believe. It's on her birthday. I think it's the 19th, but I could be wrong on that.
I've heard her name around, and I've certainly seen her on the socials, but I don't know her personally.
You should definitely check her out. She's been doing a lot of stuff, and her first single's getting ready to come out called My Place. That's one that we did together out there.
You have to bring her out to the 12 Keys one of these days.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Saturday afternoons, maybe.
Her and Brad Jensen write together a lot, and that's how I got hooked up with her. And then I work with another kid out of McEwen named Jamie Lyle, who's getting ready to drop his first full-length CD called Lyle Style. So
Lyle, I love that. Oh, that's pretty cool.
And then we've worked with a couple other people. We're getting ready to do some co-writes, and we're helping out this guy Ken Horton. He came to me. He's like, "Look, I have over 4,000 songs. I don't know."
I met him one night at Commodore.
Yes, he's a great guy. He'll definitely, once you meet him, you won't forget. That's for sure.
4,000 songs. I'm like, 4,000 songs. Wow.
Yeah,
I wrote 16 this morning.
He's got just notebooks and notebooks full.
Yeah. Wow. That's prolific for sure.
I love this town though, because you get to see everybody's process. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's like, ooh, I can take a little bit from this person. I can take a little bit from that person and kind of blend it into my own workflow. So.
I learned something new with just about every new co-write. And it really is something about this town. You could take a lot of different... Everybody's got a little different style, a little different way. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. You adopt a little bit of that, and you grow a little bit.
You find what works for your flow.
You find what works for you. I had a chance to write with an amazing trop rock artist. Her name is Erica Sunshine Lee. And I want to bring her on the podcast. I told her you have to come. So we need to talk about this trop rock revolution that's going on so big down in Florida. But she was just absolutely amazing. Just stunned me how quick she is and how she hears things so quick. And the ideas that she would throw out, and you'd throw out one and she'd make it better and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, whoa, just sitting down and running with her. Andrea Goodman, who's been on our show. It was just an eye-opening experience, and I'm sure you've had experiences like that too, huh?
Almost definitely, and it's very encouraging. You get the energy out of those writes sometimes too, and you're just like, I just want to go home and keep writing.
I know.
It fills your tank back up.
Lots of inspiration, isn't it?
Most definitely.
Yeah. Well, this very podcast publishes November the 2nd. As I was checking my list here. So for the whole month of November, you're doing your residency at 12 Keys Saloon in Hermitage. You can find that if you're coming into town or if you're here in Nashville. Please, I hope that you would join these two and go and root them on at the 12 Keys every Friday night.
Every Friday night in November.
Starting at 7.
7 or 8.
7 or 8?
Yeah, I think it's 8.
Going to close. Well, that'd be great. That's fantastic. And we can find your music where at?
CarryionOnmusic.com. There's no apostrophe in that, correct?
Because you can't put
punctuation in the website.
So just drop the G off and you're going to be good.
Exactly.
Okay, don't worry about the apostrophe.
You can find us on the socials, and we do have the one single out on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify. All those.
That's
all the good places.
Yeah. I thought about playing that version, and I thought, nope, I want to hear him do it live. No, we got to do it live around the dining room table. So
heck yeah.
Yeah. So anything else you'd like to add? Because I want to end it with Wildfire. I really do.
No, I think just, come out and find us in the greater Nashville area. You can find us at places like 12 Keys. We play out a lot out at Loretta Lynn's Ranch during the summertime.
We play at the Grand Ole RV Resort over here in Gallatin, Goodlettsville.
Oh, okay. Great. Good.
So,
You're staying busy.
That's it, man. Wherever they'll have us, we'll go.
Check out the events page on our website, and I try to update it every couple weeks or so, depending on how many gigs come in. But
I got you.
right now, all of the November ones are on there. So
and be sure to take a look out for Sweet Anna Lee, which should be dropping about the middle of next month.
It's a great song. It really is. Now, this one was released how long ago?
This was released August 31st
August
last
31st,
year.
yeah.
And it's been doing pretty well for us. I'm bad at following where it is, but I know we've been on at least 7 terrestrial radio stations with this one. So
that's awesome.
Big thank you to everybody who's helped along the way. So
fantastic. We love this song. This is Carryin' On our Songwriter Connection podcast.
My wildfire, come on, put a little whiskey in my tea. You can't say I'm a liar, when darling, some days you get crazier than me. With all the things we've been through, I guess you'd have to be. My husband and the darn guitar, he loves it more than me by far. Swear one day I just might break it. But then he whispers in my ear that nice sweet song I like to hear. Come on baby, can you make it? My wildfire, put a little whiskey in my tea. You can't say I'm a liar, some days you get crazier than me. With all the things we've been through, guess you'd have to be. My wife, she loves to drive that car. She's got a Leadfoot that's on par. Burton, Smokey, and the Bandit. But then she'll flash them big brown eyes, and some young cop gets hypnotized, goes and throws out every ticket. My wildfire, put a little whiskey in my tea. You can't say I'm a liar, some days you get crazier than me. With all the things we've been through, I guess you'd have to be. My wildfire, come on, put a little whiskey in my tea. Yeah, yeah, you can't say I'm a liar, well, darling, some days you get crazier than me. My wildfire, put a little whiskey in my tea. Yeah, yeah, you can't say I'm a liar, some days you get crazier than me. With all the things we've been through, I guess you'd have to be. With all the things we've been through, I guess you'd have to be. With all the things we've been through, you're still in love with me.
Isn't that a great song? You can find it out there. I found it on Spotify. And it's in my rotation. I just love that song. I love it.
Thank you so much,
thank
Dave.
Great job.
Appreciate you, man.
Great job. Good to have you here. Now, if all things go as planned, we're hoping next week have Trey Ackerman back. Trey is an amazing musician in this town, a fantastic songwriter, and he has so many great stories. He was with us in season 1, and I'm a big music historian kind of guy, and this guy lived it. His dad is in the Musicians Hall of Fame, was the Opry drummer for years, toured all over the country with Farron Young, and he knew everybody in the industry. So we're going to talk a little history and listen to some music next week on the podcast. Jackie, Brennan, thank you for joining us. Carryin On, named after the Johnny and June album.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for
Dave.
having us.
Appreciate
I think eventually they're going to say, "Oh yeah, that band Carryin On." I think Johnny and June named an album after them.
Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed.
We can hope. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you.
Thank you for listening to the Songwriter Connection podcast. Find us on social media at Songwriter Connection. Also, listen to Dave Lanahan's Nashville Connections radio show. It streams live every Friday morning on WOBL and WNOI. Look for us on Facebook and YouTube. See you next time on Songwriter Connection.